Place this powder on your tongue just before intimacy, and you may feel blood flow return so strongly that you'll actually need to slow yourself down. Pay close attention because this is one of the simplest and fastest science-supported methods. Older men can use to restore firmness, stamina, and confidence without pills, without prescriptions, and without waiting weeks to notice results. I'm talking about something that can work within minutes. And when circulation responds that fast, your entire performance shifts with it. Hello. I'm Dr. Amelia Hayes, urologist and specialist in men's health. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how a natural amino acid, when used correctly, can help older men restore blood flow, not only to the heart and muscles, but precisely where it matters most during intimacy. And now, this isn't about testosterone boosters, risky medications, or mysterious powders from the internet. This is about understanding a real medical mechanism that governs erections, stamina, and your ability to stay strong during intimate moments. We're talking about nitric oxide, circulation, vascular relaxation, and the enzyme pathways that slow with age. Because here's a truth many men never hear. Your performance didn't fade because desire disappeared. It declined because your blood vessels stopped responding the way they once did. And the powder I'm about to reveal helps turn that pathway back on quickly, safely, and naturally. But before I tell you what it is, you need to understand why this single pathway is the key to restoring your confidence, and why most men over 50 unknowingly sabotage it every day. Stay with me because the most important part of this entire video is at the very end, where I'll explain how to use this method consistently and safely for older men. Let's break down what actually happens inside your body as you age, and why this powder can change everything. As men grow older, something very real starts to occur inside the body, and it has nothing to do with motivation, desire, or masculinity. It's physiology. And if you don't understand it, you can't correct it. Here's the simple truth. Intimate performance lives and dies by blood flow. Every erection, every moment of firmness, every second of stamina depends on how fast and how fully your blood vessels can open. Starting around your mid-40s, 3 major systems begin declining together. First, cardiovascular efficiency drops. Blood vessels stiffen, arteries don't expand as easily. The pump is still strong, but the pipes no longer respond the same way. Second, hormonal signaling shifts. This isn't only about testosterone. It's about the hormones that instruct your nerves, muscles, and blood vessels how to react during arousal. The wiring remains, but the signal weakens. Third, and this is the most important, your body produces far less nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the master signal that tells blood vessels to relax so they can fill quickly with blood. When you were younger, your body made plenty of it. That's why arousal turned into action almost instantly. With age, however, the enzymes that produce nitric oxide slow down. The lining of your blood vessels becomes less responsive. Cellular stress accumulates and damages the very cells responsible for nitric oxide production. What happens then? You may feel desire, you may feel mentally ready, but your body doesn't respond the same way. Less firmness, slower response, reduced staying power. This isn't psychological. It's measurable, predictable physiology. Here's the good news, and this is where things get exciting. Nitric oxide production can be restored. That pathway can be reactivated. Your body can respond again, but only if you provide the right building blocks in a form your system can use immediately. That's exactly why the powder I'm about to show you works so well for older men. It bypasses what slows with age and triggers blood flow from the inside out. Now that you understand the problem, let's look at the exact biological switch that controls your performance. The mechanism that determines almost everything about performance is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide isn't a supplement, a vitamin, or a hormone. It's a signal, a message your body sends to open blood vessels instantly. Here's how it works, simply. When arousal begins, nerves send a signal to the lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium. That lining responds by producing nitric oxide. Nitric oxide then moves into the smooth muscles around the blood vessels and tells them to relax. When those muscles relax, vessels expand. When they expand, blood rushes in. And when blood rushes in, firmness happens. That's the entire erection process in one chain reaction. But if even one link weakens, erections weaken too. Less nitric oxide means less relaxation, reduced blood flow, decreased firmness, and lower stamina. That's why so many men over 50 feel their body just doesn't respond like it used to. You're not imagining it. It's not stress. It's nitric oxide decline. Here's the hopeful part. Nitric oxide levels can rise quickly when you supply something called L-Citrulline, the natural amino acid your body uses to produce nitric oxide. We'll get there in a moment, but first you need to understand a frustrating twist of biology. As you age, blood vessels become less responsive to the nitric oxide you do produce. That means you need more nitric oxide just to get the same effect. This is why some men feel they need more stimulation, more time, more effort, and still get less result. This isn't your fault. It's biology slowing down. That's why restoring nitric oxide is the single most powerful way to bring performance back. When nitric oxide rises, blood flow increases. When blood flow improves, everything works better, stronger, faster, longer, more naturally, and more consistently. So how do you raise it? Especially when your digestive system breaks down. Supplements before they can help? That's where this one natural powder makes all the difference. Here's the moment you've been waiting for. The powder placed on your tongue before intimacy, the one that boosts blood flow within minutes, is L-Citrulline. And before you think, I've heard of amino acids, understand this, not like this, not used this way, and not with these results. Here's the science in plain terms. L-Citrulline converts into L-Arginine. L-Arginine is the raw material your blood vessels use to create nitric oxide. So why not just take L-Arginine directly? Because your digestive system destroys most of it before it reaches your bloodstream. This is known as first-pass metabolism, and it's why L-Arginine pills often work poorly for older men. Citrulline bypasses that entire problem. Your body absorbs it, sends it to the kidneys, and the kidneys convert it into L-Arginine directly in your bloodstream where nothing interferes. The result is higher nitric oxide, improved blood flow, and a stronger response. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Delivery. When L-Citrulline powder is placed under the tongue, it enters the bloodstream almost immediately through the mucous membranes. This is called sublingual absorption, and it completely bypasses digestion. Within minutes, L-Arginine levels rise. Within about 30 minutes, nitric oxide increases. And when nitric oxide rises, blood vessels open the way they did years ago. Think of it like flipping the lights back on in a pathway that's been dim for a long time. This isn't hype. Research supports it. A controlled study published on PubMed showed that as little as 1.5 grams of L-Citrulline improved erection hardness in men with mild erectile difficulties. Not a minor change, but a meaningful, measurable improvement in blood flow dependent function. Urologists across the United States, myself included, often recommend this approach for men who want to boost circulation without jumping straight to medications. But remember, the real results come from using it the right way, at the right time, and in the right dose. Now that you understand why L-Citrulline works, let me show you how to use it for maximum effect. Because the difference between modest improvement and dramatic change comes down to how you take it. Most men swallow capsules or mix the powder into a drink. That works, but slowly, and older men don't need slow. You need immediate activation of blood flow. That's exactly why. The under-the-tongue approach has become so widely used by urologists who focus on men's health. Here's how to use it correctly. Take your measured amount of L-Citrulline powder, I'll explain the dose shortly, and place it directly beneath your tongue. Allow it to dissolve completely. Don't rush. Don't swallow it down. Simply let it absorb through the membranes. Why does this matter? Because this method bypasses your stomach, liver, and digestive enzymes, sending the amino acids straight into your bloodstream through the sublingual capillaries. It's the same medical principle used with fast-acting heart medications. That's how effective it is. Now, let's talk about timing. For intimacy, take it about 15 to 30 minutes beforehand. This gives your kidneys enough time to convert citrulline into arginine and then to nitric oxide. Most men notice the first signs: warmth, improved circulation, stronger firmness within that window. For some, it works even faster. What about dosage? Clinical studies usually place the effective range between 3 and 6 grams. Most men begin with 3 grams and gradually increase to 4 or 5 grams if they want a stronger response. Always start low and adjust slowly because every body reacts differently. If you're using citrulline malate, which includes malic acid, you may need a slightly higher amount since not all of the weight is pure citrulline. A quick note on meals. Because this is taken sublingually, food doesn't really matter. It works reliably whether you've eaten or not. But here's something. Older men must hear clearly. If you're taking blood,